So let's talk about the Trump supporter that died at the Trump rally where Trump was almost assassinated. And let's talk about Destiny and how he's being attacked for his savage comments and his lack of empathy. Well, so here's my position on the matter. Number one, 7,000 people died today. At least that's the average amount of people that die every day. So I think that just to start things off with a little bit of perspective, the guy who died at this rally is not somebody I know. It's not a friend of mine, not a family member of mine. I don't know him. I don't know anybody that knows him. All I know is what the media is telling me. Supposedly he was a firefighter. It looks like he had some very savage, inhumane, lack of empathy type posts in his social media. One seeming to be very traitorous, where and I know bad faith actors will say it was just a joke or whatever, but even to joke like that, there's a post of in a burning fire, and you have to choose one person, who would you choose to rescue? And it's like Pelosi, AOC, and some other senior Democrat, and then it's Putin. He literally said Putin. Again, I can almost guarantee you, Ben Shapiro hearing this, his first thing is, well, it's only a joke and you don't have a sense of humor, whatever. But even a joke like that, I mean, imagine someone showing me a post of people, and it's people that I've been the most aggressive against. And it's like, if you had to save one person, and it's like Charlie Kirk or Steven Crowder or Tim Pool or, China, China's leader. Imagine me, even as a joke, suggesting that I would choose to select the leader of a foreign country. So I have so much hate in my heart that is even like a joke. You know what I mean? Like for that to even have any context of, even if you want to take it as, because I mean, let's be real. I don't take that as he was meaning to be literal. But again, this is somebody posting something like that, right? Let's get back to the 7,000 people that died today. I don't know them. Am I going to lose sleep that 7,000 people died today? Not really. I mean, you can't survive life where you're letting a bunch of random things drag you down. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but it is what it is, right? There is human suffering all day, every day. There's some woman being raped somewhere. There's thousands of people that were killed in Gaza. There's people being killed around the world as we speak. There's, children being abused right now as we speak. There are people being raped in prisons as we speak. I could not function or survive or avoid depression if I were to expend energy, concerning myself with what's happening to random people across the country. I have a general empathy for human suffering. I don't want anyone to suffer. Somebody like Steven Crowder or Tim Pool, if they were to get involved in a serious accident and end up, seriously injured, I wouldn't wish that upon them. I wouldn't get any joy from it, but I also wouldn't lose any sleep for it. Why would I care about a random person at a Trump rally versus any number of other people who also died that I don't have the luxury of focusing on? I have my own family to be concerned about. I do have a lot of concerns for my fellow citizens in general, in terms of things like healthcare, the situation with the economy and inflation and people out there struggling to make ends meet. That is something I have concern for. But again, what is so special about this one guy who died Why is he? It's the same thing like when celebrities, something happens to a celebrity, right? And everyone's going online and they're tweeting, oh my goodness, rest in peace or whatever. You know, a celebrity who lived a very luxurious life, traveling around the world, flying in private jets, and had so many amazing things. And I'm supposed to be worried about this person dying or something over maybe a police officer that dies in the line of duty, actually doing something heroic like saving people from a fire or pulling some people out of a burning car. I mean, if I'm going to choose to have a concern over a random person who something happens to that's not I'm not connected to, I'd rather it be somebody like that. So do I agree with what Destiny said? No. I mean, I get it. I get where he's coming from. I can conceive that part of it's trying to be what's the word? Trying to be edgy. I wouldn't put it all in that camp. I can see some of it also being somewhat of a frustration because, again, here's a guy who posted, in my view, some very savage things, and it's kind of like no big deal, right? And now when someone posts something savage about him, now that's too far, and I just hate the double standard, man. Nancy Pelosi's husband, I mean, he brought this point up, right? He brought up very good points. They were mocking this and making fun of it, and it's a big joke. And it's not random people on the internet. I mean, this is Donald Trump himself, Donald Trump's son, senior members of the Republican Party were mocking a guy who got attacked and hit in the head with a hammer, right? I mean, that's absolutely no empathy whatsoever. So I am not going to be bothered by some random, stream. No, I shouldn't say random, but I mean, he's just a streamer. He's not a person of power. He's not a person who's part of the government. He's not a senior Democrat. I mean, if Joe Biden was mocking this person, now that's a huge problem. If Pelosi did it, if AOC did it, if any senior Democrat was mocking or making fun of this guy who died, that would be a serious problem. But this streamer saying it, I mean, if I think about it a little bit more, he's getting into the divisive sort of rhetoric, and it's kind of like you're critiquing your opponents for doing something, and then you're doing the same thing. So that was Piers Morgan's point that he brought up, and I would say fair. If he is building up an audience of people who lack empathy for others, or he's presenting an image that Trump supporters' lives don't have any value, then that's problematic. I mean, that could lead some nutcase who follows him to perhaps do the unthinkable. So on that level, that's why I said, there's a lot of different perspectives to this, right? I think from that perspective, that's where you're getting my attention more. Because if we're going to talk about stochastic terrorism, which is a real thing, then even though this is not as direct or hardcore as some of the stuff we've seen before, it still promotes the image of these people's lives don't matter, right? Which can be dangerous. So as someone with such a large platform, I don't think that's appropriate message to be sending out. But, I think Destiny lives in a different world. I mean, me as a small content creator, I have such a small impact. I don't have to be so careful with my words. I can be more raw. But with an audience like that, I think that's a little bit dangerous. But even so, I go as far as to say, I'm no more concerned about this random guy at a rally than I would any of the thousands of others who died on that day, right? And I think it's fake when people, it's like the black square thing, right? This fake outrage and fake concern and, people running around with Ukraine flags or, whatever flags they want to put up, virtue signaling and all this kind of stuff. I don't believe in all that, man. Um, Again, I have a lot of empathy for a lot of people, but the problem I see here is there's no reason for me to be more concerned about this person than others. Like the thousands of other people who died on that day, you know, I didn't go around and, oh my goodness, this is so sad. And da, da, da. I mean, I could turn on the news right now and there's going to be, a few stories of somebody who died in a crash or whatever. Am I going to go post up something or whatever? So why is this guy? So in theory, you say, oh, because he's a fireman. Because he's a fireman, that doesn't make him a good guy, right? A person being a fireman or a police officer or a doctor or a priest, that doesn't make you a good guy. What makes you a good guy is being a good guy. I don't know the guy. Obviously, whenever someone dies, people are going to say they were great and whatever. So I don't put a lot of faith in that. I don't know the guy. I don't know whether he's a good guy or not. And I don't know that that's even that relevant, right? Because I'm not looking around for people who die that's worthy of, me being concerned about. That's just not how I see things, right? Again, I have a general empathy for my fellow Americans, fellow human beings. If I have a direct connection to someone that suffers some tragedy, then that's where it's going to hit me because that becomes more directly relevant to me. But that's the way I look at it, man. I think his wording was inappropriate and potentially dangerous for reasons that I've already stated. But personally, I don't agree with the other people that are virtue signaling, that are pretending to actually care about some random person. And for those that actually do care, significantly, because this guy died, but you don't care anything about the other people that died, I don't know what to tell you, man. There's a lot of pain in this life, a lot of pain and suffering, and that's just part of life, unfortunately. I think we should try to minimize it as much as possible. But in general, that's how it is. It's kind of like a doctor. A doctor doesn't have the luxury of getting all depressed and, getting all emotional. He's dealing with people, and sometimes people are going to die, sometimes people are suffering, but the doctor needs to focus at the task at hand. And for us as regular people, the task at hand is our survival and the survival of our family members, and also the survival of our country, right? But I guess that's all I have to say on the matter. What are your thoughts? This is Debate Me channel. Debate Me comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.